एकम् अक्षरम् हृदि निरन्तरम् भासते स्वयं लिप्यते कथम्। हृदयकुहर मध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहम् अहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति। हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वता मज्जता अनचलनरूधा आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्। देहं मृण्मयवत् जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तत भावशुक्तिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधिय दृष्टात्मनिष्ठात्मना सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचल शिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं। सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचल शिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं। ओम नमो भगवते श्री रमणाय। For the benefit of some of the new participants, what we do in the Thursday self-inquiry satsang is that we read from Guruvachaka Kovai, the translation in English. We read two verses, one after another. We read the first verse, try to deliberate on the meaning, and then sit for 10 minutes Atma Ucharam. Then read the next verse and sit again after deliberating on its meaning for 10 minutes. And we take up some questions that have come during the week. After that, that will be followed by Ashtotram chanted. So we go to the first verse. Guruvachaka Kovai consists of three segments. Investigation into truth. The second is meditation on truth. And the third segment is experience of the truth. The first verse we are getting is from meditation on the truth. The subsegment is feeling compassion for living beings. The subsegment is feeling compassion for living beings. Verse number 813. Those ignorant people who are antagonistic to righteousness by virtue of their offensive and heartless conduct, will, alas, with their hearts yielding to fear, beat to death sin-soaked creatures such as hissing poisonous cobras that bite and kill. I'll read that verse again. Those ignorant people who are antagonistic to righteousness by virtue of their offensive and heartless conduct will, alas, with their hearts yielding to fear, beat to death sin-soaked creatures such as hissing poisonous cobras that bite and kill. There is a small quote from Day by Day with Bhagavan. Yesterday or the day before in the morning, a snake was seen by Chinnaswamy and others in the ashramam premises somewhere near Bhagavan's hall. We heard the cries, "What kind of snake is it? Beat it, beat it." When we heard the noise of actual beating, Bhagavan cried out, "Who is beating it?" Apparently, this remonstrance of Bhagavan was not heard by the party and the snake was killed. Bhagavan added, "If these persons are beaten like that, then they will know what it means." Muruganar, avidya, ignorance, is the cause of all sinful acts. Even those who engage in sinful acts, behaving like the poisonous snake that kills, do so unwittingly, prompted by the inner enemy. Therefore, no matter how sinful they may be, the proper course is to pity their ignorance. Retaliation is improper. Bhagavan would normally say that it is the dharma of monkeys to steal and of snakes to bite. So we should not judge them by human standards. The sins of the snakes can therefore be taken to be the activities of a previous life which caused the incarnation in a snake's body. In their current incarnation, they lack the self-awareness that would tell them that what they are doing was harmful. I will read Muruganar's write-up again. Muruganar, avidya, ignorance, is the cause of all sinful acts. Even those who engage in sinful acts, behaving like the poisonous snake that kills, do so unwittingly, prompted by the inner enemy, the ignorance. Therefore, no matter how sinful they may be, the proper course is to pity their ignorance. Retaliation is improper. This is one of the last points in which the mind gets outward turned. That when we see some unrighteous conduct, some oppression of the weak, some punishment to the innocent from either a poisonous creature or even more commonly from people who are revengeful or who have these negative emotions. Now, to comment against them or to act against them would be the final call for preventing us from turning inward. Now, that important question is what is being answered here, that what should we do when we get thoughts of oppression that is going on outside in the world, where somebody is being oppressed by a strong force. Bhagavan says, even such acts should be taken to be the product of ignorance. And we all know that the solution to ignorance is creating knowledge or awareness. So the first thing that the sadhaka should do is to remove his own ignorance. Because so far as ignorance prevails inside, the source of his response would always be ignorance. Therefore, Bhagavan says, even when we see such acts, even when we see such acts of oppression, the first thing we should do is to ask, for whom is this thought? That a weak person is being oppressed by a strong person. For whom is this thought? And first, we should engage in the act of removing our ignorance that we are separate from our source, that we are apart from the source. Now, that is the self inquiry we are going to practice for the next 10 minutes. As soon as a thought appears, Bhagavan says, if you follow it with more thoughts, you will get outward turned. You will be acting out of the ego or the source of ignorance. So, as soon as a thought arises, Bhagavan says, diligently, with great care, let go of the thought by asking, for whom has this thought arisen? The answer will always be, this thought has arisen for me. Immediately ask, who am I? And take the attention to the source of the I. With repeated practice, Bhagavan assures one gains the ability to rest in the source effortlessly. Till such effortless abidance in the source is realized to be our very nature, one should make the effort to turn away from the rising thought and return to the source with the quest, who am I? With Bhagavan's immense grace, let us sit for the next 10 minutes in Atma Vicharam. नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय। We go to the reading of the second verse. This is still from Meditation on the Truth. The subsegment is philanthropy, verse 807. If he realizes this basic truth, that all a person offers to others is in truth given only to himself, who will not distinguish himself by performing magnanimous acts of generosity. I'll read that verse again, and there is a small incident noted beneath that. I'll read that later. If he realizes this basic truth, that all a person offers to others is in truth given only to himself, who will not distinguish himself by performing magnanimous acts of generosity. The following incident is taken from Satsangh with Robert Adams, December 30th, 1919. The following incident is narrated by Robert Adams, an American devotee who stayed at Ramanashramam between 1947 and 1950. A couple of weeks later, there was a German lady who had come to the ashram, and apparently she had made a donation of some kind. But she wasn't happy for some reason. She was complaining to Ramana, and he just kept silent. I asked the interpreter, what does she want? The interpreter said, she wants her donation back. She wants to go home back to Germany. So she started to argue. Everything was going on in front of Ramana. She started to argue with one of the managers of the ashram, and Ramana just looked. Then Ramana said in English, give her back her donation and add rupees 50 to it, which they did, and she left. The following afternoon, a devotee asked him, Bhagavan, why did you do that? Ramana explained, when she gave us a donation, to whom do you think she gave it to? She gave it to herself. For there is only one self. When she took it back, she took it away from herself. When she goes back to Germany, I am sure she will have financial problems until she learns that anything she gives is only given to herself. There are not 2 or 3 or 4 selves. There is only one self. Bhagavan, all that one gives to others, one gives only to oneself. If this truth is known, who indeed will not give to others? That is from Who Am I? Essay version. I'll read the original verse again. If he realizes this basic truth, that all a person offers to others is in truth given only to himself, who will not distinguish himself by performing magnanimous acts of generosity. This I call as Bhagavan's diamond rule of ethics, that whatever I give to others, I give to myself. How I have experienced this is that when I share Bhagavan's teachings or my experiences, whenever I am telling that to others, I am actually telling it to myself first. In fact, Ganapati Muni and his commentator Subramanyam to the Chatvarimshat, they say that Vak, it starts in silence as Paravak. Then it becomes Pashyati. And then it comes into the world. Where it is in the Paravak, it is in silence. Then in Pashyati is where the rishis, the Maharishis are able to see God's words and Vedas in that first development into sound, before it develops into sound. Now, whenever we are giving our experiences in form of words, in much more powerful way, we are giving that to ourselves. That is in the way of subtle thought, which is going to remain in us and which is going to affect us and which is going to continue as experience in us. This applies to all acts of giving. Whatever we give in the world, we first give it to ourselves in the subtle. In fact, Bhagavan is saying that we are giving to the Atman. I have interpreted it for my own sadhana, that do we not give it to ourselves as thought? And thought is much more powerful because it is the ancestor to all action. So whatever I give to others, I give it to myself in a very, very powerful way. And that has helped me in staying with Atma Vicharam. Because when I give others mauna, that is what I give myself to. That is the easiest way to abide in the self. That how to abide in the self? When I always give maunam, if at all I have this conception that there are others, and I see to it that it is maunam, the subsidence of the ego, the silence that comes out of that, that alone I am radiating, then that is what I have to. So whatever I give to others, I give to myself, that I call as diamond rule of ethics. It is the highest of all ethics. With that in mind, with that as Bhagavan's teachings, which has helped me a lot in staying in the self, in doing Atma Vicharam and in abiding in the self, this diamond rule that பிறருக்கு கொடுப்பதெல்லாம் உனக்கே கொடுத்துக் கொள்கிறாய். Whatever you give to others, you give to yourself. Uh, that has helped me a lot indeed. So with that, let us sit for 10 minutes of Atma Vicharam. Whenever a thought arises, let us remember that silence is a better gift that we can give to the world and to others. If at all we still feel that there is a world or others outside of us, let us give silence. Let us give the mauna. How to give that? As soon as the thought arises, let us not pursue it with more thoughts, but ask for whom is this thought? And ask who am I? And go to the source of the I. With Bhagavan's immense grace, let us sit for the next 10 minutes in Atma Vicharam. नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय। Namo Ramana. Before we start the Ashtotram, there is a question in the group which I am taking up for answering. This question is by Rajesh Kumar sir, I think. And the question goes like this. Am I audible? The question is, what is the feeling? We were discussing about Spurana. Is Spurana I? So this question is about that. What is the feeling? You can take as brackets Spurana. What is the feeling like since if we say we see light or void or anything, we are again asked to question for whom is this? There is a smiley there. If it is beyond feeling, how does it feel before the feeling goes away? Another big smiley is there. So that is the question. What is the feeling of Spurana like? Since if we say we see light or void or anything, we are again asked to question for whom is this light, for whom is this void, or whom is anything. If it is beyond feeling, how does it feel before the feeling goes away? So with the two smileys, that is the question. Now, in the same tenor as the question, I would like to present 2-3 situations. One is a story where an enlightened master is being questioned by a student. This is a legend or a story, and it is not from the Hindu tradition. So the student asks, what is this you are saying as enlightenment? It seems to be I am trying for 8, 9, 10 years now, and I cannot feel that anything substantial is there, that it is something hazy and it is not holdable at all. Then the master catches hold of the nose of the student. He catches hold of the nose and he holds it very tight and doesn't let go. And the student starts shouting, no, please let go, please let go. Then the master says, this is how clearly you can hold the enlightenment. The enlightenment will be as clear as this when you arrive there. So continue your sadhana. That is the first story. Then there are 3 stories in Bhagavan. First is the story of, this is the Anubhava in enlightenment, that this Purana is the clearest of all experiences. Whatever we have experienced so far, from the smallest of known experiences to till date, each one of us, this Purana has been the Adhara. The life current has been there as the Adhara to allow us to experience that. So when the experience of Purana comes, there will be absolutely no doubt about it. Now, there is this experience of Annamalai Swami, and he and another assistant are giving oil bath to Bhagwan. That day it appears, that is how the incident is narrated. And the other attendant says, this Annamalai Swami has struggled so far with so much of supervision of constructions. Is it not time that he is retired? Oh, then Bhagwan says, oh, that is the time, is it? And then he starts some other conversation where he starts saying how people who take addictive drugs like ganja, how they will act. Then, as though he is tipsy, Bhagavan takes 2, 3 wrong steps and says, they will say Ananda, Ananda, like that. And he goes and embraces Annamalai Swami. Annamalai Swami writes that this embrace was there only for 2, 3 minutes from Bhagavan, or a little bit more. But he stood in that experience of forgetting everything and being in that experience for more than half an hour. Bhagavan had left the bathroom, the other attendant had left, and Annamalai Swami was given the first experience of Spurana. Now, this is the initiation given by Bhagavan from where his tapas starts. That is, from there he starts the experience of abiding in that Spurana or abiding in the self. That is his journey, which is started by Bhagavan at that point. Similar experience is there for Chadwick. Major Chadwick has been pestering Bhagavan as to what is this? I am coming up to the void, which the questioner has also asked. I am coming up to the void, I am getting fear, but I am not getting any experience. I have been here for so many years. Then Bhagavan doesn't respond. 2, 3 days down the road, when he is taking bath, he gets this Purana. And just tying a towel, he starts running towards the hall. The experience is so strong that he starts running towards the hall and says, Bhagavan, is this it? Is this it? And Bhagavan just smiles and says, yes, yes, that is it. So when the experience comes, it will be like that. Same is the case with Ramanath Brahmachari. When Ramanath Brahmachari gets this Purana, the first experience by itself, he is stunned that he always believes that he is a very simple devotee and that in this Janma he is never going to get any experience of this Purana. And that has been his humble attitude. In practicing self-inquiry also, that has been his humble attitude, that I am such a simple devotee, I am not going to get this. And he just keeps the practice going. And when he gets it, he's so thrilled, but he's still having doubt. And he goes and asks Bhagavan, Bhagavan, idunas Purnama. Is this it? He asks Bhagavan. Bhagavan says, Amanda. Yes. But he still doesn't believe. He says, Bhagavan, apdiya. He pesters. And Bhagavan gives him a knock on the head. Says, Amanda, Sumayra, like that. Then he goes and shows everybody. This is where I was given certificate for enlightenment by Bhagavan. So my answer is that we have to keep doing the sadhana. This is the Bhagavan's upadesham to us and his guarantee that we will reach the goal, but we should not put the condition on him. We should have patience and do the sadhana. The experience will be unmistakable. There won't be any doubt. It will be as clear as any other experience. Just as the latest mango fruit you have had, it will be clearer than that. That is what I can say about this Purana. And we can go to Ashtotram. Those who want to practice self-attention while Vaibhavji is chanting, you can inquire who is listening. Who is listening to the chant? Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, sir. भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितम् श्री रमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योऽपि मात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि। ॐ महासेन महोंसेन जाताय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः। ॐ गुरवे नमः। ॐ अखण्ड संविदाकाराय नमः। ॐ महौजसे नमः। ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः। ॐ जगद्धितावताराय नमः। ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः। ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः। ॐ सुन्दरार्यतप फलाय नमः। ॐ कमनीय सुचारित्राय नमः। ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः। ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः। ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः। ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः। ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः। ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः। ॐ तीव्राय नमः। ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः। ॐ इन्दुमौळिना पितृमते नमः। ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः। ॐ तपोमयाय नमः। ॐ उदासीनाय नमः। ॐ महायोगिने नमः। ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः। ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः। ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसम्भ्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः। ॐ सवित्रे नमः। ॐ स्थिराय नमः। ॐ तपःक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः। ॐ पुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः। ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः। ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः। ॐ चूर्णिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः। ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः। ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः। ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः। ॐ विराजदाचलकृतये नमः। ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः। ॐ पूर्णाय नमः। ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः। ॐ गम्भीराय नमः। ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्य निभाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईड्याय नमः। ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्रीशोणाचलरिपुवराय भूतस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेवितामृसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्नसंशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनाधगसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ ऋच्चान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणात् बन्धमोचकाय नमः। ॐ मन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणादृशस्तुतिद्रष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमण भगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनाम पूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थानोररुणाचलस्य पदयो स्मृत्याजनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवश सादात्म्यभावं गतः हृन्निष्ठस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनास्येकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे। ओम नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
नमो रमण